How's it going, everybody? I am Zachamus Prime, aka Zachamus Prime, here with another Transformers Legends third-party review. And today I'm going to be reviewing the Magic Square Space Skimming. Kind of a dumb name, but kind of a great figure. Space Skimming is kind of an interesting... Like, he took me completely out of left field. I was browsing the internet one day, and I'm like, gosh, I wonder what... it'd be nice to see what all DX9 has got up and what I have and what I'm still missing. And I think right now the only one I'm missing is Strongman, I think is what they call him. They're, his name just escaped me. But anyhow, so I was on this website and they had like full color painted production pictures of this guy. And I was like, what? That was the first I heard about it. And it was like just a couple of weeks before it actually came out, and I was just blown away. But anyhow, so they came out with this guy, and this is really great. Because I just did that review for the that really nicely painted masterpiece size one, and I forgot that one as well. My brain is just out to lunch today. So what I'm saying is I've got the Cyclonus on, fresh in my memory, and this guy really nails it. I mean he looks as good from the front and the back, if not better than those masterpiece scale ones. The Fantoys one and the X Transbots. By the way, thank you everybody who told me I'm an idiot for saying KFC. First of all, I did that for the joke. Second of all, X Transbots and KFC are the very same company, so eat it. But yeah, this guy is, easily cleans up better than either one of them, especially in the leg section. Holy smokes! But even in the back and the chest to some degree, and just really nails it, I think. I don't know, like somebody was talking about missing paint apps on it, and I haven't noticed anything like that. I'd have to take a closer look at the complaints that other people are saying, because I did read that like one complaint someplace on the internet. But I just think that this is fantastic. The only issue I've got with him is he's got a really loose waist joint, but it's not like atrociously loose. It's just like fairly loose. It's loose enough that I notice that it's loose, but it's not loose because of the waist joint. It's not, the tightness of it is not load bearing, so it's not really a problem. But yeah, in terms of accessories, he just comes with this one gun. It is molded in black. It does not do anything else fun. I kind of wish that they had come out with a Target Master for him. I know we're getting a Target Master repaint of the Inferno of Inferno, and it would have been nice. They could have dual used that mold for the little Target Master for both Cyclonus and that Art Fire. So, but they didn't have one for either one of them. So that's a little bit of a bummer. So here's his only accessory. One thing he does have, and he's got light piping on his face, and it's actually really good light piping as far as light piping goes. I am not the biggest fan of light piping because it makes his eyes just look really dark. On these Legends ones though, it's not so bad really, because the amount of plastic is so small that it doesn't really wash that out. It still looks fairly red, even looking at it in direct light. But it's just, light piping, it's a thing, and it's actually a full thing. Like this guy here, he's got the parts for light piping, they just painted over his eyes, which I think looks fine. Here's a size comparison, quick size comparison. He's quite a bit taller. And I think that's kind of how it's supposed to go. I think that he stands even taller than Galvatron. if my memory serves me right, which I don't know that it does. I have not looked at a size chart for these guys anytime recently. I mean, I did look up a size chart, but that was to answer a question somebody had on the internet of whether or not Omega Supreme was supposed to be bigger than Predaking, and he is. Somebody was like, oh no, Predaking is like half again as tall as Omega Supreme, and I was like, no, that doesn't sound right to me. I do have this guy here, and when you put these side by side, like DX9, you did a good job, kind of, but it just pales in comparison to this one here. It's just really good. This guy, of course, came as part of my 3-pack with Galvatron, Cyclonus, and the sweeps, and they all look pretty decent together, more or less. But I mean, I will be replacing them as they come out, because I mean, Magic Square has raised the bar. Here he is with some of his season 3 guys. There's Cup, and which this is DX9's Cup, and it's actually pretty great. And whoa, get your foot in place, Ultra Magnus. So there's a quick comparison of them. I think it's, I mean, again, I'm not an expert on scale, but I think it looks pretty good. I think that you can stand them next to each other and not be like, man, that looks effing retarded. So let's get him transformed up. His transformation is simple, but like really, it's subtle. It's simple but subtle. I like it a lot. Oh no, sorry, I gotta get into Poseability first. So his head is on a peg. It goes all the way around. In fact, it's literally just on a peg. But it moves freely. His arm goes all the way around, and he's got various joints and stuff in here to allow his arm to go out about that much. He's got a bicep joint here, which is impeded somewhat by this kibble. He's got this fin on his arm and then this chunk of kibble right here on his back. That does impede that somewhat, but I mean, that's a good range of Poseability right there. Single joint at the elbow, 90 degrees of bend, that's fine. He's got a rotation at his wrist, which is little, you know, it's a nice piece of it's nice that they included that. You know, it's not super impressive all on its own because it's just in there on a little peg, you know, but it's nice that it's in there. Like I mentioned, the waist joint, which I said is a little bit loose, but it's fine. He does have a dedicated ab crunch here, so he'll move that far forward and that far back on his little ab crunch. If you're moving it back, keep in mind it's going to look ridiculous from the front. Just as if you move it forward, it looks ridiculous from the back, but you know, you got to pick your battles, man. His legs are on ball joints. There's a little bit of an impediment around this groin area here, so it goes forward only that much, goes back all the way that much. Most of a Van Damme, I'd say that's at least like 92% of a Van Damme. Thigh swivel here on a cut. Single joint, knee, 90 degrees, that's good. He's got a series of joints in his ankle, actually, but his toe will bend all the way down, and then he's got a toe joint here, and his toe joint has this additional tab stuff out here, which is a feature for, it's kind of for his alt mode, but it's also really nice because when you move his toe forward, like he's got more toe, more surface area on this toe joint, even though the hinge is up here. It's got flanges that go all the way back there, so it's got that much surface area. Really lends a lot to its Poseability. And that one on the back here is a little ball joint, giving him just a little bit of tilt, enough that you can, you know, put his legs out a bit and still have him flat-footed. Just, you know, it's a good figure. It's got everything it needs, and it really doesn't have anything it doesn't need. Good spot for a Decepticon decal there. Let's get him transformed up. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull this part out. You're going to turn his head all the way around. You're going to take this and you're going to unfold, 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 unfold. Like that. Just kind of splays out, comes back in, tabs in. You're going to take his arms. You've got these panels here. You're just going to extend that out like so. Yeah, we should probably get this arm rotated around before we get too far into that. So pull this out, rotate that arm around like so, because there's this slot right here that's going to actually plug into this peg here. So it needs to be facing on the inside. You're going to take this light purple part here and yank on that so it covers up his hand completely. You can still see his hand sticking through there, but you got to really look for it. This covers it up fairly well. There's a double joint inside his shoulder. You're going to put it down and then put it flush again. So his arm is like that. It doesn't slide. It comes out. And then you got to kind of reconfigure the plastic in there just a little bit. And then you are going to take, this panel right here. You're going to disconnect it, and then you've got this double hinge, almost like a combiner war style joint, to move that up, and then this panel is going to rotate around, and that's how that's going to fit together. Then you're going to take his foot here, you're going to bend it at that, and then bend the toe down, and this is just going to sit right in there. It doesn't peg into anything, it just aligns in there. So we're going to do the same with this other leg. Pull this out, fold that up, rotate this around, bring his toe down. There is a peg here and a slot in there. You're going to peg and slot this together. Then you're going to plug, like I mentioned, this peg into that slot on his forearm. And that's what I mean by a subtle but effective transformation. Like, he's just like 3 pegs and a couple of shifts, you know? And it looks really good. I mean, I'm not going to say that it looks as good as, like, say, the Fans Toys version, but Fans Toys, you know, has a lot of space for, you know, real advanced engineering and complexity, whereas, you know, efficiency and subtlety are the buzzwords for these Legends figures, and I think that is just fantastic. You can see his head here, but other than this head, this alt mode does not commit any sins that any of the big figures don't also commit. You know, it just turns out really, really good looking. A little bit gappy in here, I will be honest with you. But I think that it's just, you know, it's a figure that does a really good job with what it has, you know. And you can't, you know, walk into one of these Legends figures expecting like the full amount of engineering that you'd get out of one of the really big ones, one of the really big figures. But you just get a level of engineering with this that we haven't really seen before. I mean, and don't get me wrong, like I've said, DX9 has done a fairly well job with what they've got. But like, this is the transformation, and this is the alt mode for this guy here. And you know, like, you can understand why I'm not bothered about replacing this guy, you know. So I think that Space Skimming is actually a pretty great figure. all around. He looks fantastic in his robot mode. He looks pretty decent in his space plane mode. And you know, I mean, that's really all you need anyhow. I can't imagine. I mean, everybody who's going to have this figure is probably going to have them displayed in his uh, robot mode pretty much all the time anyhow. You know, so I think that it hits all the boxes pretty well. But anyhow, I'm at the point where I'm starting to ramble, so I'm going to cut it short. Thanks everybody for watching. If you stuck by with this end, go ahead and leave me a like. Comment on how much I'm rambling or whatnot. I have noticed that about 50 people have commented on my old Springer review from last year that I've said like 50 times. So thanks everybody for noticing all of my vocal quirks. Have a great day, and I'll see you around. Thanks for watching. You're all fantastic, and I will see you on the flip side. Bye.